Hey guys, how you doing? It's 8-Bit Eric. Welcome back to the channel. And I have another interesting article about Cyberpunk. So we've been covering Cyberpunk, all the hoopla leading up to launch, all the post-launch drama, the glitches, the lawsuits, everything like that. Today's video is actually something that is kind of neat and fun. So we all know Cyberpunk doesn't even play good on the base Xbox One and PS4. We know that people are demanding refunds and stuff, but it does run on an Atari VCS. Yeah, we're going to read an article talking about how a YouTuber ran Cyberpunk on an Atari VCS. So let's check out this article. This is from CBR.com. It says Cyberpunk 2077 is unplayable on Xbox One and PS4, but it does barely run on Atari VCS. It takes a lot of work, but Cyberpunk 2077 can run on Atari's new console, the VCS. Whether it should is another story. So this caught my attention. This seems like a fun little article to read and take a look at. There's also going to be a video that we're going to watch a little bit of. I'm going to leave a link in the description to this. This is what I love. I love when people do hilarious things with games that are just memes at this point. We all know the total failure of a launch that this game had. Now, I liked it personally. It ran good on my Series X, but all the hoopla and all the drama was brought on by CD Projekt Red themselves. There's no climbing out of this hole, no matter what. But people are having fun with this. We're seeing mods come out. We're seeing people mod third-person mods. I always want to say third-party. Third-person mods. We're having people make mods that do certain things. And we're also seeing people like Nintendo run it on the Switch. But the Atari VCS is a brand new Atari console that is just hilarious to see this come out on. So looking at this, it says the woes of Cyberpunk 2077 on consoles are well documented. The game had a disastrous launch on the PS4 and Xbox One, leading to an unprecedented response by all the parties involved in distributing the game. I mean, we covered it, both the PlayStation Store and Microsoft basically took it off out of the stores. It's not available to buy, downloadable, and refunds are being given. You could take this thing to Best Buy, you could take it to wherever you bought it and refund it. I don't ever remember this happening. I mean, Fallout 76 didn't have this many demand for refunds to where PlayStation and Xbox caved in and allowed refunds. Seriously, this is a mess. But anyways, it says what's less publicized is the fact that the game works perfectly well on the Google Stadia, which has driven new interest in the cloud-based gaming service. And I have not heard any reports of Google Stadia, to be honest. I thought for the most part nobody was interested in it, but it seems like that's one of the best parts to places to play Cyberpunk. So it says one YouTuber found a way to run the game on the Switch via Stadia, and I believe that was Nintendo's. And then it says another Kevin Kenson found a different way to run the game on a more obscure console, the Atari VCS. So this is what we're talking about. Kevin Kenson's video says the VCS is at least partially what it sounds like. A modern console that evokes the look of a classic Atari machines like the 2600. Like many retro consoles before it, it comes preloaded with classic Atari titles like Missile Command and Tempest. It will also play host to sequels like Tempest 4000 and a host of indie games. So very interesting. So here we go, guys. This is the video. Let's go ahead, take a look at it a little bit.
Despite all my doubts, the Atari VCS... I don't want to play
all of his video.
We'll leave it so you guys can come in and watch.
But you can see.
Now, if you actually don't know what I'm talking about right now, the Atari VCS memory available even to finish getting the game.
There's Fortnite.
See, the Atari VCS has 8 gigabytes of RAM, but it doesn't
have
any...
Let's go ahead and see if we can zoom in.
Not great by any means.
So you can see right there, he's playing it.
A little better frame rate and slightly better graphical effects than what we are seeing here, which is...
All right.
Not good. So real quick before I keep playing
so he's playing this on the VCS, which is pretty random and funny to see.
So I'm still
I wish we had a up closer look. You can see the frame rate is a bit choppy.
Visually, this is definitely worse than console version, but I wonder if it runs more stable. Like, I wonder if we get less total crashes over the course of playing.
So that is actually really interesting to see. Again, I'm not going to play the full video just because I want you guys to be able to go watch it for yourselves. But it says what sets the VCS apart is that it's a small PC at heart. Atari touted that the system ran off of a customizable Linux OS which it began crowdfunding for the project in 2017. Kenson used that feature to download Windows 10 on the console. He then sought out current games it could run, including Cyberpunk. To get anything to run, Kenson had to work around the console's limitations, primarily its lack of memory. The VCS has 8 gigabytes of RAM and lacks a graphics card, so it struggled to boot games up without some modifications. So he definitely had to make some workarounds and modifications for sure. It says games like Fortnite needed to be run at minimum settings, meaning the system needed to run a debloating program that cut down on the memory it used. Windows 10 also had to be put in performance mode to minimize the memory usage. With all these steps taken, Game of the Year candidate Hades became playable on the VCS. It's so cool that people were able to experiment and do techie type of stuff on things like the Stadia, the VCS, the Switch. We've even seen like the Series X be used for emulators. Like, I wish I was half as smart as the people that could do stuff like this, because this is really cool. Now, to go on with this, it says to get a game like Cyberpunk to work, Kenson had to increase the page file size of the system. In his words, that meant telling the VCS about all the space that was made available by those settings tweaks. All that space became virtual RAM the system could use to run beefier recent games. While Doom Eternal never booted, Cyberpunk did. Of course, it didn't run particularly well. Even with every setting at minimum, the game struggles are amplified on the VCS. You can practically count the frames per second as V moves through Night City. That said, it's functional, which is a minor miracle given all the VCS's limitations combined with Cyberpunk's own issues. So, you get the mess that's Cyberpunk and the mess that's the VCS. You just combine it together. Very neat to see, honestly. So, very, very cool. So, I would, be interested to actually see a little bit more in action of this. Even though there is a lot of hoops to play this game on it. It definitely was an interesting experiment. So pretty cool. I'm going to have to go and watch the video more. Hopefully he makes more videos showing some actual footage or something from like a capture device. Because it just all around, the memery of this game, of how terrible of a response it's gotten since being launched. Some of the graphical issues, the frame rate issues, the crashes, everything about this game just screams meme worthy, and it's unfortunate because this game is never going to live that down. I think deep down, beyond all the problems and issues that it has, it wasn't a half bad game. So we'll see in months from now when the patches happen, the updates happen, when they start adding the DLC, what goes on. But until then, if you're brave enough, try to play it on the VCS. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.